eventually, we see him walking up. Codi and him had actually known each other because they were in jail together. Like, as soon as he walked out, he was like, "Oh, what's up, Codi? How you doing, bro? Da 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 da." My buddy that's over here on the back passenger side, he was going to tell our driver when to go. And so Codi kind of, was just kind of chit-chatting with him. He gave him the bag. And Cody's like, "Well, do you care if I start coming through you, bro?" And as soon as he said that, my buddy who's in the back passenger says, "Drive, drive, drive." So she pulls off. He grabs onto the little rear window right there. He just pulled out his gun, and then he just let out, I don't even know how many shots.
This episode of The Recovery Couch is brought to you by JB Davis at South Dayton Toyota. For integrity, service, and unbeatable deals, call JB and his team at 513-267-5225 and tell them The Recovery Couch sent you. What up, sobriety gangsters? Welcome back to another episode of The Recovery Couch. I'm your host, Brandon Couch, and today I'm here with my cousin. We're going to talk about a life-changing event that he was present for. But to give you a little backstory, our mothers used to live together for a lot of my teenage years, which brought Cooper and I close. We would spend time outside, tossing football and playing games. And so there was a lot of unity. It's a loving family. There's been some things that have happened in the family that have just been tough. And today we're going to talk about one of those events. So please welcome Cooper Jackson. Cooper, how you doing, cuz?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's good to be here.
I love you, bro.
I love you, man.
Yeah, it's my dude right here. So let's go back to 2011. Or do you want to start before that?
We can start wherever you want. You tell me.
Let's go to 2011, bro.
Okay.
And you pick it up, man.
Well, 2011 obviously was the year that my older brother Codi was shot and killed. Obviously, it was a terrible event for our whole entire family, not just me. We were trying to rob somebody for some weed. We made a big mistake, and that was a life-changing mistake for sure.
Lead us up to the event, man. Were you guys just kind of having a conversation like, "Man, I want to smoke"? How did that go?
So what had happened was we were all chilling and just drinking and partying a little bit. We had just decided, hey, we need to get some weed and no money.
How old are you? How old is Codi at the time?
I was 15, about to be 16 in May. Codi was 19, and he was going to be turning 20 that year.
And this is March of 2011, so you're about 2 months away from being 16.
Yes, sir.
And Cody's 19.
Yep.
And you're looking for some weed. You're drinking some beers. Take it from there.
So I knew the guy. So they was asking, where can we get some weed? Who can we, hit an easy lick on? And so I said, I know this guy. He was just, kind of goofball guy, and, nothing that I thought was anything serious. So I contacted him. We went over there, and that was when the whole, situation arose from there.
So you drive over there. How many deep?
There was 5 of us in the car. There was, I'm not going to say everybody's names, but there was a woman driving, one of our friends up in the front passenger. Codi was in the driver's side back, and I was in the middle. And then my other friend was on passenger side back.
So you're in like a sedan type of vehicle,
yes,
like a 4-door sedan.
Yep.
For those who are listening that don't know, Codi is Cooper's brother. Codi Jackson was the 19-year-old who was going to be 20 that year. And he's in the back seat on the driver's side. Codi is. Cooper, you're sitting right next to him in the middle in the back seat. So you guys pull up.
Well, so we texted him when we got there, obviously. He was taking forever. But we waited. The last time I texted him, I said, hey, well, we got school tomorrow. I was like, can you like come on out? Hurry up. And so eventually, we see him walking up. Codi and him had actually known each other because they were in jail together. They had knew each other from being in there together. And so they kind of, like, as soon as he walked out, he was like, "Oh, what's up, Codi? How you doing, bro? Da 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 da." And Codi was like, "Oh man, I didn't know this was you." And so they kind of start chit chatting a little bit. And my buddy that's over here on the back passenger side, he was going to tell our driver when to go. And so Codi kind of, was just kind of chit chatting with him. He gave him the bag, and Cody's like, "Well, do you care if I start coming through you, bro?" And as soon as he said that, my buddy who's in the back passenger says, "Drive, drive, drive." So she pulls off, and he grabs onto the little rear window right there, and he just pulled out his gun, and then he just let out, I don't even know how many shots. It was I don't even know, to be honest.
So what was the vibe like on the way there? Was the music up?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
It's a
guys
good
were
vibe.
chilling. Everybody's on the same page with this
Yeah,
robbery.
yeah, everybody, and it was a good vibe because we've done this. I mean, we had done this plenty of times, and I mean, it wasn't really anything. It was over $20 worth of weed, so it wasn't like it was like we were going out there and stealing a pound from this guy or, anything crazy like that. It was worth $20 worth of weed, so it was. I mean, we was all chilling, we were vibing. It wasn't anything crazy. We had done it time and time again, and as bad as that is, and as bad as that sounds, but it's just the truth. Yeah, we were all just chilling. We had the music up. None of us were expecting any of this to happen. And like I said, this guy was kind of a goofball. None of us really took him seriously. So that was how our vibe was on the way.
This episode of the Recovery Couch is brought to you by Greg Swartz at Remax Victory and Affiliates. Greg brings heart, hustle, and honesty to every deal. Call Greg at 937-477-8975 today and tell him the Recovery Couch sent you. So when he comes out, do we want to say his name?
Yeah, we can say his name.
Levi.
Anthony Levi Randall. Yes, sir.
When he comes out and Codi and him recognize each other, you're sitting in the back seat. Mm-hmm. What's going through your mind? Like
nothing. I was a little buzzed up. Like I said, I had been drinking. I was only 15 at the time, so I mean, I could have drank 3 beers and I was pretty buzzed up. You know what I mean? And so it was. I had done this so many times in this specific fashion that it was like I wasn't expecting this to happen at all. And so, which obviously is terrible, wrong mistakes were made, and it ended up costing, my brother his life, and it ended up costing Levi, 30 years of his life, and that's just how it happened.
So the signal's given from the dude in the back passenger seat.
Yeah.
And he says, "Go, go, go."
Yep.
Levi grabs onto the window.
Yes, sir.
What kind of gun did he pull?
I don't know what kind of gun he pulled. It like happened because as soon as we realized that he like grabbed onto the window, we all kind of ducked, and like then you just hear this loud bang, and obviously if you've ever heard any gunshots, you don't hear anything really. You hear the first one, you don't hear the second one, that's for sure. And so ears are ringing. Well, I'm completely ducked down, and I look back and I see Codi is laying back like this. And so I instantly grabbed his shirt and I tried to pull him down. And I knew it was terrible because I threw him over my lap and I like ducked over him. And I don't know how many times Codi got shot, in all honesty. I mean, I was never told. Could have been multiple. I don't know. But I ducked over him and I think it was like I don't know if there's an artery in your head, or I don't know anything about anatomy like that, but he was like spraying blood into my face, into my mouth. And so I'm just, screaming like, "Go to the hospital, and this happened so quick, but there was like moments. If you've ever been in like a crazy situation, like a car wreck or anything like that, you kind of understand that this, like, it happens extremely quick, but there's also those kind of moments that it's like, it seems like slow motion. You know what I mean? And so and there was a few moments there where it was like, it happened extremely quick from the time that we got shot at to the time that we wrecked at the bottom of the hill on Cincinnati Avenue. It was like that, but, I don't know how many times he shot. I don't know what kind of gun it was at all.
So you're 15 years old. You hear a gunshot. You look over. Your 19-year-old brother, who, for the listeners, these are my cousins. I know the relationship and the bond that these brothers had, Codi and Cooper. I mean, the person you looked up to the most in your life.
The one constant in my life.
The one constant.
Everything. We have been through a lot, like with our mom. Our dad was never really around. We, kind of bounced back and forth from aunts and uncles' houses and things like that. And he was the one person in my life that wherever I was at, he was there. Wherever he was at, I was there. I wanted to be just like him. I wore his number. When he was a football player, he wore the number 10 first. I wore the number 10 because of him. And so that was like the one constant person that was always in my life.
And you look over and you see him with his head back.
Yeah.
And like a good brother would do to try to save him from what you now know are gunshots. You grab his shirt and pull him down.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind?
Well, what's going through my mind is I know he's been shot because he's spraying me in the face with blood. And so I'm screaming, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. And this is another fact to point out is that the person who was driving was the shooter, the Levi Randall. That was his cousin is who was driving. And so he almost killed his own cousin that night. But what was going through my mind was go to the hospital. I'm screaming, go to the hospital. And this is like one of those moments that happened in slow motion where she was like, I can't, I'm going to lose my daughter. And I was like, I don't want to cuss on your podcast, but I was like, I do not give a F about your daughter right now.
You can cuss, bro.
I do not give a fuck about your daughter right now. I'm like, my brother is bleeding out. Like, go to the hospital right now. And then boom, smashed right in the bottom. And I don't know. I think Codi honestly saved me from going through the windshield because like he was on my lap, obviously. I'm ducked down, and I mean, we crashed at the bottom of Cincinnati Avenue in Stelton right there. And
in Xenia, Ohio.
Yes, sir. And so that was what was going through my mind in that moment was just go to the hospital right now. And it was like, that was like slow motion, that like little tiny conversation, but it all happened so fast that it was like gunshots, crash. But there was like that one little second of clarity that was just like, go to the hospital. And yeah, that's what was going through my mind at that moment.
So you're doing everything in your power to save your brother's life.
Yeah, of course.
So all you really know at this point is he has definitely been shot. Mm-hmm. You have no idea the severity of the injury.
I knew it was bad. I mean, because I knew it was in his head. So I knew where it was at so I didn't know like when it happened. I obviously knew when he was laying back that he was probably unconscious because, I mean, if he was conscious, obviously he would have ducked down. And so I knew it was bad. I didn't know how bad it was until I pulled him out of the car. And so the reason I tried to pull him out of the car without like calling the 911 is because, like I said, this all happened so fast that it was like, I thought, because I didn't know if this was like an actual thing. You know, you see this kind of thing in video games where it's like they shoot a gas tank and the car explodes. You see that kind of thing in like video games and movies and stuff like that. And so it all happened so fast from the time that it was like gunshots, crash. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he just shot our gas tank and this car is about to explode. And I'm not letting my brother explode in this car. Like, so I'm trying to drag him out of the car. And they all took off running. Everybody in the car, they got out. They literally took off running. And in all honesty, I got out of the car for a second and it crossed my mind because like it was so scary. I'm 15 years old. And even for them, I don't blame them. You know what I mean? I don't have any hard feelings towards them because that is extremely, I mean, fight or flight is a real thing. And so I have no ill feelings towards them for that. But I just knew it took me a second of like, oh, I need to run. And then I was like, no, I'm not, like, this dude's not about to explode in this car. And so that was what was going through my head at that moment. And so I tried to pull him out of the car. And he was heavy. And so dead weight is really a thing. And he was extremely heavy. And that was when I knew, because I could only get him halfway out of the back seat. And in my mind, I don't know why I didn't go around to his side of the car to try to pull him out. I tried to pull him out of the passenger side. And just, I don't know why. I'm just flustered. And so I'm trying to drag him out this way. And this is when I really realized the severity that he had been shot in the head right above his ear. Not right above. It's like back here, probably like an inch above his ear, but like a little bit behind it. And so I knew it was extremely bad. And he was laying on top of our cell phones. And so I had to like roll him over and fish out the cell phone, call 911. I dropped down on my knee, just try to prop him up a little bit, and propped him up a little bit on my knee, put some pressure on it, and that's all I knew how to do. I mean, it was definitely something you'll never forget for sure.
And what happened to the weed?
So the weed, I had grabbed the weed because Cody had he was like laying like this and he had dropped it on the floor, and because I didn't know if we was gonna get in trouble for it, and so I had grabbed the weed and put it in my pocket. When the police got there, I put it in my pocket, and then I kind of, when they were like getting me away from the scene a little bit, I just kind of went towards the police car and just dropped it on the ground, just because I didn't know. Like I said, I was so young. I had done some dumb stuff before. I had been in trouble and stuff like that before, but I just didn't want that to be, I don't know. I just dropped it is what happened to it.
And whatever came about that?
Nothing. They never said anything to me about it ever.
Okay. And so you see the gunshot wound.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do to you?
Well, at the time, it didn't. I was in so much shock just from everything that just happened that it wasn't like, obviously I was extremely afraid, and he was twitching so bad that I just, like, in my heart, I knew that he was probably dead. And so I was like, I mean, but the gunshot, like the severity of what it looked like in that moment, it didn't really register to me. And I don't remember what it looked like because there was so much blood. And I mean, I had blood. Like, it looked like I had just gotten out of a bath full of blood. And so, like, I couldn't even really see the wound. I could see where it was at. I could see where he was bleeding from, but I couldn't really see like it wasn't like his like head was like caved in or anything like that. I couldn't really see anything like that, but it was definitely something that you don't want to see that, obviously.
So you're trying to save your 19-year-old brother,
Mm-hmm.
your constant in your life,
Mm-hmm.
the one constant. What type of emotion? Are you crying?
No, I wasn't crying. I didn't cry for a couple of days after that. I think because that's the thing about grief is, everybody deals with it differently, and I was in so much shock. And I'll never forget our Aunt Donna, Dita, as I call her. Everybody else calls her Duh. She woke me up. She came and picked me up after. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit. After this happened, I went to the police station. They took me to the police station. They swabbed my hands for gunpowder residue, and I didn't know that's what they were doing at the time. I know my mom was extremely unhappy that they did that because I didn't know what that meant at the time, but they were kind of trying to like not single me out, but kind of like make sure that I'm not the one that shot him or whatever, which is pretty wild. But I let them do what they did, and they took me into a room, and they were trying to get my statement and everything. And I'll never forget when the district attorney showed us that video, and I was like, you would have thought. They showed us a video of me in the room, and I didn't budge. Like, I don't even think I blinked for like 2 minutes straight. Like, I didn't even move. It seemed like I was like frozen in time in all reality, and I'll never forget that. But so after that, I went home. The police took me home, and I mean, when I say I was covered in blood, I mean like my whole face completely covered in blood. I was wearing a winter coat. I was wearing a sweatshirt and a t-shirt, and I was wearing jeans. This was back in the day when we would wear the shorts underneath the jeans and and all that. And I was wearing jeans. I was wearing gym shorts, and I was wearing my boxers. And I was completely, like, it soaked through every piece of my clothing. And I was completely stained from literally here all the way down to my kneecaps, completely stained in blood. And so I walked in, and my mom seen that, and she had just woke up. She used to sleep on the couch all the time. And she seen that and was like, what, and then I'll never forget that. And she just knew at that moment. She didn't know what had happened yet, but she was just like, what the fuck just happened? And that, obviously, that's heartbreaking in and of itself. But so they took her to the hospital to be with Cody, and I got in the shower. I was there, which this is also a pretty crazy part of this. It's not really crazy, but they just left me there with my 3-year-old brother with no one else there. So, and I got in the shower to wash all this off, obviously, and I hear this knock on the door.
Didn't you get a text message before this too?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Good call. I did get a text message before this. And it was because this is what's sad about this too, is that this guy threw his life away too. And he didn't even know that he did it. I mean, he knew that he shot at us. He did not know that he killed Codi. He texted my phone, and I seen this at the scene. He texted my phone, and he said, "Hey, Codi, what goes around comes around, bro. Wait until I see you around town." And that's all he said. And so the police confiscated my phone and his phone at the scene. We never got those phones back.
But you saw that message before they took the phone.
Before they took that, yeah, absolutely.
So now you're at home. You just take the shower.
Yeah, just taking a shower.
You hear the knock,
and it's not just a knock; it's the knock of someone who is, they're pounding. Like Dita wanted in that door. She wanted us right then and there. And I have no idea who it is. And I just went through the most traumatic experience of my life. And so I'm thinking at this moment, like, oh my God, this dude is like here to kill me right now. And so that was a wild thing. And I'm like peeking around the corner because I'm so scared. So I like peek around the corner and I see Dita just standing there, and I'm like, my heart literally just dropped. And I'm like, I started crying. I did cry a little bit when she first got there. And she comes in, she takes me and Cole over to her house. And the next morning, this is when it really didn't sink in then. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it was like grief hits you so differently because she woke me up the next morning. And I think she thought it was kind of weird too, because she was like, I fell asleep. And she was like, were you sleeping? And she was like, kind of like, like, were you actually asleep after all that happened? And that's what it kind of seemed like to me. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, Codi didn't make it. And she started crying, and I didn't really cry because like I'm telling you, it was just like, I was just in a state of shock. Like, I was like numb completely. And my emotions, I didn't really cry that much afterwards. And then it's really been like, it's gotten worse the older I've gotten. It's like, the older I've got, the more emotional I get about it now. So it's.
Yeah, man. Golly. Love you, Coop.
I love you.
So how do you cope after that? What are the next months like? What do they look like? I mean, I was in South Dakota and I came home and we had the funeral, mm-hmm. and the family came together and we went out and played horse, but we didn't call it horse. We called it Codi. And, mm-hmm. Things didn't seem super crazy with you at that point in time, but I can't imagine it got any easier in the next days and months. How did you cope?
Well, the way I coped was, every person I knew, they wanted to have party with me. And that's what I did. I went out for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, and just every day, just drinking, smoking, every single day. And it was like everybody I knew, everybody that, not even people I didn't know, they would still act like they knew me. They acted like they were best friends with my brother. That's another funny thing about when someone dies that everyone knows, they kind of act like they was his best friend and stuff like that. But everyone kind of tried to like take me under their wing. And I just fully just accepted that because it was like, okay, I'm just going to go party for free. No one's going to make me pay for anything. And that's what I did. And I ruined a lot of friendships during that time where it was, because I was off the chain. I mean, most people would be. I ruined a lot of friendships. I ruined a relationship with a girl that I was with. That was how I coped during that point.
So it sounds like, and I don't think I've ever asked you this, I'm going to ask you now, Cooper. It sounds like Codi's death to a gunshot wound was almost, I don't want to say celebrated, but it seems like it brought you more attention. Like, people thought it was thuggish, definitely. Cool, definitely. Gangster.
Definitely. And believe me, I mean, I didn't I wasn't really thinking of it like that at the time, but it was definitely something that people were like, they were like, okay, yeah, this dude, obviously went through some crazy stuff. And I did have kind of like, not like I wouldn't say like I felt like I was invincible or anything, but I just did not care about anything. Like if I would get into a fight with somebody, I did not care. When before that, I would never really, like, I was never the kind of guy, like I would want to get into a fight with people. I was always not like, I would never say I was timid, but like I was always taught like, just walk away from fights. And after that, it was kind of like, I did not care. Like I just kind of had this, like, I guess you could say I felt like I was kind of invincible at that moment. So
it sounds like in Xenia, it almost upped your street cred.
A little bit, definitely.
A little bit or a lot of it?
I would say probably a lot of it, honestly. Yeah, I would say a lot.
So is that what you're saying? That was how you coped from that? You know, all of a sudden you got friends you didn't even know you had.
Absolutely.
And they're getting you drunk and high. And that was your coping mechanism. It Absolutely. Almost like a small town celebrity. Everybody knows me. They fuck with me. They're getting me stoned. They're getting me drunk.
Yeah. And then a part of that too is like when that fell off, because everybody forgets about things like this, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, everyone does. And when that fell off, that was hard for me because it was exactly that, where it was like, I was going out. I never had to pay for anything. They would let me into bars. I was 16 years old. They'd let me into bars. They'd let me drink at bars. Everyone wanted to kick it with me. And so like, I really felt like I was, it felt like a celebrity type of thing. Not that I was like wanting that, but I wasn't going to say no to that. Right?
But I think nobody listening, or not even me, will ever understand what it was like in your shoes at that point in time. But that is almost probably an easier way to cope immediately than just being stuck. Nobody even knows who you are. You're just stuck thinking about it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I would have been sitting there thinking about it all the time, I probably because like I said, this was my older brother. I loved him more than anybody I've ever loved in my life. He's always been there, always been a constant. So if I wasn't doing that, I don't want to say that I would have probably like committed suicide, but like I would have probably definitely thought about that. Yeah.
Did retaliation ever cross your mind?
Of course it crossed my mind.
So are you paying attention to what's going on with how long did it take for the cops to find the shooter, for one?
One day. Because I knew who he was. And so I knew who he was. I gave his name up, obviously. No shame in that.
Hell no.
Yeah. So they found him the next day. He was on. He did, like I said, he threw his life away. And
what do you mean by that? You keep saying it. How didn't he know? He was so messed up. He didn't know.
He was so messed up on Xanax. He was a veteran. He was 22 years old. He was a veteran. I think a Humvee that he was in got hit by an IED, and I'm not 100% sure, but this is what the story that I was told by the district attorney. So when he got back, he had PTSD. He was prescribed Xanax, and I know that for a fact because the first time I ever met him, he had Xanax and he was trying to sell them. And so I know that for sure. And the next day he was on the news when they arrested him, and he was like, "Tell Codi's mom I'm sorry. I had no idea." And he did not know. And so that's why I say he didn't know what happened. And I've done Xanax. I think, most of the people probably listening to this podcast that probably know what Xanax are like and how they affect your brain, and something can happen while you're doing it and you will not remember it. And not to say that he didn't. I wouldn't say he didn't. I don't think he remembered it. If he didn't know, I definitely don't think he remembered it for sure.
Well, and I appreciate it. Sounds like that you are forgiving of him as much as you can be, but I mean, that doesn't take away from the fact that this was the most traumatic situation your life will ever experience. Of course. And so after the months of kind of going out and being this basically street celebrity, small town street celebrity, that's basically what, I mean, I remember at the funeral, there was a whole side of the funeral home that was in red and black. Mm-hmm. And everybody sat together, and it was, from, the family that we come from, like you're on my mom's side and his mom's side, they're sisters or moms. You're either kind of a partier or you're super religious. Exactly. It's like one or the other. Exactly. And so one side, the right side of the funeral home is family, left side is everybody in red and black. So these are probably the people that kind of are taking you under their wing. How long after that did they forget? And then how did you start coping at that point?
I would say that it was probably about a year and a half. We were kind of, just going hard like every day. And then, it started just slowly just falling off, and I still had friends and stuff. I still had my own friends. And we would still, obviously I would do the same thing with my friends too. So it wasn't just like those were the only people I was hanging out with and stuff like that. But, when it started to fall off and, I wasn't getting as much like love and stuff like that, it wasn't, it was kind of hard just because like I just, I had kind of grown feeling like everybody was my boy, that, she likes me. She fucks with me. That's my guy. And to the point where it was just like, nobody really just cared anymore. And so that was a little depressing, but the way I coped with it was the same way I coped with it to begin with. I just kept drinking, kept smoking. I started getting into pills a little bit more. That's how I pretty much coped with all that.
But what's it like without your brother? That was your road dog, man. I mean, you guys were, and now all of a sudden you're kind of doing this alone. When everybody's taking you under their wing, you probably don't notice your constant is missing as much. You notice he's missing, I'm sure, but as much. But then all of a sudden they fall off and they just kind of, don't show as much love.
Yeah.
And then you probably really start noticing like.
Of course. Yeah, of course. So I would, that's why I said I started getting into pills a little bit more, just Xanax, Klonopins, things like that really will take your mind off of things like that. And really will, take a lot of that anxiety and stress away. Not to tell anybody that to do it because it's terrible. I mean, it's awful. You do things that are terrible when you're doing them. But yeah, that's how I coped with it. And obviously losing my brother was always hard, but I've always been of the mindset that like, there's nothing that I can do about it. I can't change it as much as I would have took the bullet for him if I could have. I can't change it. So the only thing I can do is get fucked up. Right. And that's how I coped with it.
And how long did you cope that way?
I coped that way. I mean, I quit drinking. I didn't quit drinking completely, but I quit doing that like every single day for when I was probably about 18, when I was about to have my first son. But then I started getting down into pills a lot more than when I was drinking. And I've always been a weed smoker. And, so I would always smoke weed and stuff like that. But I started getting into pills, Percocets and Vicodins, and Xanax every now and again. And that's how I started coping with that. And even after my oldest son was born, I still did that, for probably not anything like crazy, not to where I'm like spiraling out of control. I still took care of my son. I still, was a pretty good father and everything, as much as you possibly can be while you're doing stupid stuff like that. But I still took care of my responsibilities for sure. But I would say probably when my oldest son was about 3, and then my second born, Carter, when he was first born, is when I've really kind of kicked everything.
And was it tough?
Yeah, of course it was tough. Yeah, it was tough. And obviously, you know how it is when it comes to when you start relying on those kind of things for a long time. It really spirals you into you're like a mental, like a head case.
Withdrawal. You're talking about withdrawal.
Yeah, like a withdrawal. Yeah, withdrawal. I had, that was actually what really got me to stop taking pills, is because I had never had a withdrawal before. And the first time I had ever had one, I got like dope sick, and I was like, I'm never doing these again. And I never touched them again after that. And But yeah, it was really hard getting off of them because getting off of the pills and stuff. And just because you know how it is, you have this coping mechanism of, yeah, my life sucks. Yeah, I've been through some shit, but this is gonna numb it. This is gonna numb it for a couple hours, and then, well, once that wears off, I'll do another one. I'll do another one, and then it puts you into a depression when you do get off of them. But it does get better after a while, and so that's how I got off of those.
Praise the Lord, man, that you were able to do it that way. Because, I mean, you've watched me and other members of our family not be able to do that. Just first time, put my mind to it and it's gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my opinion, that was, God.
Yeah, I think so too.
Really looking out for you.
I think so too.
And I commend you for that, man, because I'm so proud of what you've done in your life after all you've been through. And we can't get into everything we talked about yesterday, but there were some things I didn't know that you brought to the table last night as we were just kicking it, man. And you have not had it easy, Coop.
No, never. But God's brought me through it. So I always thank God. And, I just always try to make people aware that it's like, it's not worth going out there. $20 worth of weed is what my brother was killed over. It's not worth it. Going out there and trying to rob people for stuff, anything, it's just not worth it, man. It's not worth it.
I love that you just said that. $20 worth of weed cost your brother and my cousin his life. Last question, man. For anybody out there who's dealing with something so traumatic, the loss of a loved one, right? And they're in the midst of, there's addiction somewhere intertwined into the situation, right? What type of encouragement or advice would you give that person?
I would say, that's a tough question because everyone handles these kind of situations differently. Don't do what I did. Don't fall down into the rabbit hole of, trying to numb your pain, because that's where 90% of us, that's where we want to go. We want to numb our pain. I would say just try to, just pray about it, and really just try to lock in, go to your family, see a therapist. There's nothing wrong with therapy. It's not for everybody, but there's nothing wrong with trying it and talking about it. Talking about it really has helped me too, because it's like, at first I wasn't very open about it, and because it was just, obviously it's always emotional for me, but just talking about it with people that love me has always helped me, because you just got to get it off your chest sometimes. And so, talking to God and talking about it with you, Uncle Jeff, all of our family and stuff like that does help you for sure.
I love that answer. Seek counsel is what he's saying. Wise people seek counsel. It's wisdom. Sometimes I know I grew up in elementary school and people would be like, you need help. And it placed a stigma on, needing to see a counselor.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with needing help. Wise men seek counsel. Somebody that I know and love has always told me that. Great answer to that question, Coop. I want to thank you guys for joining us for this heart-wrenching, emotional, super honest, super transparent episode of the Recovery Couch. It's definitely tough to revisit.
Of course.
And I just admire your courage, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's all love, Coop. I love you, man.
I love you.
And for all you out there, remember, you always have a seat right here on the Recovery Couch. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Nexus Blue. If your business is buried in manual tasks, disconnected systems, or wondering how to leverage AI the right way, Nexus Blue delivers vendor-neutral technology consulting and automation solutions that help you work smarter. Learn more at www.nexusblue.io. That's www.nexusblue.io.